You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk, or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacy. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of libertative conservatarians.
Guadalupe, America. Good Sunday evening, March 10th, 2019. JD and Stacy here live hosting Game On that KLRN radio, baby. Yeah. Welcome back to all our political freaks, geeks, and back alley sneaks. Everybody right now, get over to Spreaker.com, get in that chat room, say hello to Stacy. We want to thank Rick Robinson, KLRN Radio, and Spotify for making all this possible. Tonight we're talking another attempted Dem coup, this time through legislation through that H.R. 1, baby. Allies to pay more. Aliens, watch out. President Trump's military budget proposals, nonsense of the world, and much, much more. Top off your drink, light up that stink, taking whatever helps make you think. JD and Stacy taking you through that 9 p.m. Eastern hour. How's you, baby?
I'm doing great. I'm missing like a whole hour, though, so my day is completely off.
Oh, listen, that's my grandmother. You got to go St. Anthony, St. Anthony. Look around. Something's lost and got to be found. Where's my hour? Boja Kahani. And then, you know, with the Polacks, it's all who's more pious than the rest.
Oh, jeez.
Good Sunday evening, baby. How's you?
I'm doing all right. Like I said, I got all screwed up. Didn't know when dinner was supposed to be. It's still light out, which is really messing with me. It's a strange day.
So basically,
Until I get used to it.
So basically, you're coming off a 3-day Coke bender.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it.
Okay,
that would
terrific.
Be so like me.
Hey, listen.
Exactly it.
I figured out how to get that echo out of my schmecko, my Gniptiganab. I took the left headset out, and now I am feeling much, 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 much better.
Oh, I am so glad. I didn't. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about last week. You have to understand that with all the talk going around, about the socialism and all this, that, and the other, last week was, honestly, it was in the service of capitalism that we had to abort the show. But not one of the, I guess that was a late-term abortion, wasn't it? The show was out. It was breathing on the table.
Well, yeah, no, we had it all advertised, and then
Okay,
my power went
terrific.
out.
For those of you, okay. So I guess this is a human relationship thing. This isn't a male-female thing. This isn't a friend-spouse thing. This is a human relationship thing. Let me give everybody a little insight into. I almost called this the JD and Stacey show. Do I do a separate show without you?
I don't think so.
Let me just.
If you do, let me know.
Let me just get everybody into a little bit of insight and backstory. So last week, in the service of capitalism, about an hour and a half before the show started, JD's business jumped over, got a little crazy, baby, yeah. And I feel awful when this happens, especially because Stacey is the brains of the content of the show. We're never going to have somebody on. She's going to be more steeped in policy and a lot of what she writes about than myself or most of our guests. So, I never want to have to not have the show go live because I know that there's a lot that she puts into it. And I said, you know what, damn it. I said, all right, let me tell her. So the thing I told you, and people, I don't care whether this is your radio co-host, your sister, your mother, your grandmother, your wife, your daughter, your wife's daughter. She's my sister. She's my cousin. She's my sister's cousin. Who cares? Whatever it is. Always wait that extra 5 minutes because if I had just waited 5 minutes, last Sunday would have been your fault. And then I'd have one in the bank. And now I don't. JD's missing out on those prizes, baby. You want to take a poll in the chat room? Make sure our audio is all good?
I'm not getting any complaints.
Okay, so let me basically define JD's role on the show.
I bring nothing to the
there
table.
There we go.
Well, you bring interesting euphemisms.
Euphemisms? Is that a mism that's not for them, but is just for you, but not for me, but is for they? Can you have a tranny euphemism? Would that be a G?
Wow.
A trannyism. That's right, folks. This is not your grandparents' political radio show. No, look, the purpose of the show is everybody who say it how it's feel it. Everything's spinning out of control. So, without further ado, darling, let's jump into what we thought would be the best way to go and what it's called the A block in the biz, kids. And what we're going to be talking about in the first segment is you're going to hear that the democratically controlled House passed a big and if you ever want to know when the media is lying, they're speaking. You're going to hear this called an election reform bill, an anti-corruption bill. It is a less soft coup, in my personal opinion, that was attempted by this nonsensical Mueller investigation. Let me go through a little of the background and then have Stacey jump into a little of the meat of what the Democrats got up to, but you probably missed it because they couldn't get together on the resolution because it's bad to hate Jews. And that's something maybe we'll get into later. So while they were all fighting over whether or not they hate the Jews, this piece of garbage legislation passed. It's called H.R. 1, House Resolution 1. Per the New York Times, the House passed the Democrats' Showcase Anti-Corruption and Voting Rights legislation on Friday, an expansive measure that aims to dismantle barriers to the ballot box. This is like dismantling ballots to the litter box. End big money in politics and impose stricter ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Democratic Rev. Zoe Lufgren of California. It's a power grab for the American people. Cocaine Mitch McConnell of that U.S. Senate, baby, has branded it, quote, the Democratic Politician Protection Act. And if you folks want to know how bad this is, the Times even had to put in there was criticism from both conservative and liberal groups. The ACLU has urged members to vote against the bill. It is 700 pages long. Some of the nonsense, designating Election Day as a federal holiday, automatically registering citizens to vote, restoring voting rights to felons, creates 6-to-1 matching systems, sort of like you see in Europe and Australia for these publicly funded campaigns. There was a Disclose Act that was trying to hide dark money. You'd have to disclose your donors over $10,000 in the bill. But what I want to get into after Stacey goes into some of the meat of this bill, was a resolution attached to the bill that was defeated by the Democrats that the Republicans proposed that allow for illegal immigrants to vote in the election. Stacey, you feel free to start in wherever you like in this piece of horse hockey.
There's just so much. First of all, I love how the Democrats always decide that it's corporate money that is the problem in politics. I'm sorry, guys. I've been researching y'all's funding for the last 2 weeks. There's a big problem with NGO funding, bundlers, and hedge fund managers. But we'll get to that later. Later. The other one I love about this, being a mom who's raised children, is they want to lower the age to vote to 16. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I don't let my 16-year-old decide when they get to come home, when they need to be home by at night.
16-year-olds don't even make good beer decisions.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They drink cheap beer.
Ugh.
16-year-olds voting, guys. That's so that they can take kids out of their high school class on a field trip and the teacher can just tell them how to vote. That's what that is.
You know, I wanna freeze this in place because there's so much in this bill where we're gonna get through different parts of it. But I'd like to focus in. There were a couple things that I wanted to focus in on, and this provision right here about the 16-year-olds being allowed to vote. And I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I'm going to be hyperbolic. There was a reason in the beginning of the rise of the Third Reich back in Germany. And yes, whenever you're comparing anything to this point in World War II, you got to be careful and you're probably losing, but stick with me here for a second. There's a common theme that people hear say the Nazi youth. And they were the youth brigades and the brown shirts in the beginning of the Nazis' consolidation of their power. And you saw this when we were kids, Stacey, with the Earth Day Act. And what it is you're taking people that have no context for very complex issues, and you're using them as a beard. You know, the way they do in Parkland, the way they do. They can't get adults to buy into their nonsense. So let's let and it's always for the children. It's for the children, don't you know? It's going to be their future. And you want to know what? Then let them run for office and take your job, idiot. Okay, I guarantee you there'll be some 16-year-olds that do better than these morons in Congress.
Oh, absolutely. But so that to me is one of the most offensive provisions in here. Let's see what else in there. Same-day voter registration. Basically what this bill does is take the authority away from the individual states to run the elections within their state. So any differences, it seems, between how elections are run in the state of Georgia and how the elections are run in the state of New York will be wiped away. It's really a huge step to making everyone like California, where anybody can go pick up ballots from anybody and drop them off at a polling place.
And when asked for comment about it being wiped away, Hillary Clinton said, "What do you mean, like with a cloth? You mean you mean like a cloth, like where I wipe the dryness in between the landscape desert and my hoo-ha?"
Well, and I'm not going to go down to
I ain't going down there either.
Oh dear Lord. I walked right into that one. Right into it.
Hey, where are
right
the
into
white women
it.
at?
Hillary Clinton standing there all night.
Those men wanted to have sex with me.
No, they didn't, baby.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even vote
No,
for
they
you. Listen, if I have anything to come back from, I had no intention of going down the Tatooine type desert between the legs of the former first lady.
Stop. I'm much closer to going to sleep than you are. Okay? There's just things I don't need to picture. I don't. What I was going to say, in all seriousness, is what the Democrats appear to have been doing for the last 2 years is creating crisis after crisis. So they are absolutely 100% complicit in the crisis that's occurring at our southern border. They have been pounding election abnormalities. I mean, just last week, Hillary Clinton was down in my state, in Selma, going, and this woman here, this Stacey Abrams, she should be the governor if the election was run correctly. The election was run correctly. And that is very dangerous rhetoric. And they do it in Florida, too. Anytime their preferred candidate didn't win, it's because the elections weren't okay. These were the same people that were telling us that everybody had to accept the election results in 2016 because they were so sure Hillary was going to win. Yet here's this entire party that is not accepting elections all over the country and making people question our election processes. Now,
go ahead.
Now, that's really one way to get people at each other's throats. The crisis at the border is another way. This stupid climate nonsense is another way. They are deliberately, brick by brick, trying to create these crises purposefully.
Yeah, and I think they're looking to support him. Before we go into it, we actually have a caller here on the line. This is for JD's last comment. Hold on, JD.
Did your parents have any children that lived? Sir, yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
I bet they regret that. You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
Now that we got that out of the way, but this goes to exactly the point that you were making. And, for all the talk, and I don't want to mix things that we're not talking about, but if you go back to this Michael Cohen nonsense on the Hill this week, it was basically Michael Cohen testifying with Lanny Davis's hand up his tuchus like he was some sort of Sesame Street puppet. And let's tie this all back to where this Democratic Party is and what they want to do. And it has a lot to do with that idiocy that you were speaking about, allowing people to vote when they're 16, because they cannot win these. They can win the sound bites, they can win the news cycles, but what they haven't been able to do is they haven't been able to win from a policy perspective. So what you have is all these new House Democrats, since Ben Shapiro's ripping us off, let me tell you something, you sawed-off little halfie, so fresh, so faced, do something about it. So you have all these new freshmen that are coming in, and it's a different Democratic Party, and what they ran on in these purple districts was middle-of-the-road policy, and by the way, I'm going to keep saying this, and I don't care how offended anybody gets. For all of you people who are never Trump or who doesn't like the president because of his attitude or what he says or because of his mistresses and on and on and on and on and on, let me tell you something. Any of you who bought into the idiocy of you needed to vote for Democrats to teach Republicans a lesson, whether you continue to listen to the show or not, you are complicit. You are complicit. This is partly your fault. Anybody who pulled the lever for any of these freshmen, so fresh, so faced Democrats in these purple districts, you are complicit in this. Because this was not about differences in policy. They are voting lockstep. And now the thing that I wanted to come to is you want to talk about voting in lockstep. By a 228 to 197 vote margin, the Democrats in the House of Representatives, with only 6 defections, voted down a Republican declaration that illegals voting in our elections are a bad thing, and actually supported illegal aliens voting in our elections. Let me quote John Lewis. You have to listen to John Lewis. He was such a big part of the civil rights movement. We are prepared to open the political process and let all of the people come in. Lordy Jesus, says Rep. John Lewis. This disgrace.
They just lost every purple district they won.
Wait a second. I will not concede that, because they were, let me tell you something. These people were mouthing this idiocy and these cool-like tendencies before their candidates moderated. And people like you and I and people who pay attention were running around and going, I don't care what they're saying in their ads. That's not a purple state candidate. They are going to vote lockstep for infanticide, for the voting of illegal aliens, for court packing, for whatever kind of undemocratic nonsense could make sure that people like you and I never have a say in this process again. And yes, before I throw this back to Stacey to take us out, because we have about 2 minutes left, if you were one of those people, one of those Tom Nichols type people, one of those Bulwark Ahoy to nowhere people, one of those Charlie Sykes type people, one of those Bill Kristol type people, this is on you for trying to teach all of us a lesson. Because now you have codified in legislation the ability for 16-year-olds and illegal aliens to vote. Stacey, I'm sick of this.
Well, first of all, my hero was my new political hero. I love Representative Dan Crenshaw. I think he's a rock star. He was the one that put in the motion to recommit. We did split Democrats the last time we were talking about illegal aliens and guns, and that's when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez threatened to put all those moderate Democrats on a list to be primaried. This is civil war in the Democrat Party, and now we're all going to pay the price because this bill came second. I believe if that MTR had gone in before the gun one, 26 Democrats wouldn't have voted for it.
But you just proved my maximum how you're smarter than everybody else. Just for those in the audience who don't know, just tell them what an MTR is.
Oh, motion to recommit. It's like it's kind of like an amendment, but it's at the last minute, so it can't be stopped, and it's a minority privilege that has existed for quite some time. So it's a way that Republicans have successfully divided the Democrat caucus a couple of times in the last couple months.
A last-minute minority that can't be stopped. Sounds like AOC for me, baby. I cannot believe the first segment's behind us in the can. JD and Stacy riding you to that 9 p.m. Eastern hour here on that KLRN radio on that Game On, baby. You can find us over in that Spreaker. You can find us over in that Spotify. Pretty soon you can find us in a whole lot more places. Get over to Spreaker.com right now. Jump in that chat room. Say hello to Stacy. When we come back, U.S. Ally is going to be paying more for that U.S. treatment. Yeah, JD and Stacy, KLRN. We'll be right back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back, all our political geeks, freaks, and back alley sneaks. JD and Stacy here live, hosting Game On that KLRN Radio. Everybody right now, get over to Spreaker.com. Say hello to Stacy. Get in that chat room. I know some of you people are having trouble finding our live link. It's okay. I resent it out. We're doing the best that we can here. Check us out after the shows if you miss us live on that Spotify, also over on that Spreaker at that KLRN Radio. We want to thank that Ricky Tiki Tavi Rick Robinson. Everybody else from that phenomenal KLRN Radio lineup. Thank you for joining us here live on a Sunday. It's been our privilege to get the show relaunched again, getting our sea legs back under us. You welcome to tackle topic number 2, baby? Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, ready.
And I do need to do a quick clarification.
Wow.
Because I made a mistake. The 60-year-old thing was an amendment that did not get added to the bill, but there were a number of Democrats who did vote for it.
Yeah, but that, look, the 16th thing is being pushed more on the state level. I didn't want to kind of step on what you were saying there, but now that you circle back, I thought that there was a great quote from Rep. Dan Crenshaw, who's a newly elected rep out of Texas, and this is on allowing illegals to vote. Quote, "It sounds like I'm making it up. What kind of government would cancel the vote?" And I want you all to think about that. Even the most quote-unquote squishy of you out there on immigration, for all of you that was squishy on immigration, even on the right, some of you, I could understand. We got to give them the driver's license. It's just a public safety issue, and they're here. Okay. Well, one of the pivotal states that helped President Trump win this election was Wisconsin. Wisconsin has decided last week, for the first time in its history, to issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens, all at the same time while the Democratic Party is virtue signaling to illegals that it's okay to vote in this election. So, again, this isn't a tacit criticism. I could care less of what you think about me saying it. All of your decisions have consequences. And for those of you out there who don't realize that this is actually a war for the future and freedom of this country, and you want to try and split the baby at being both, best of luck to you. Because your tacit support of any kind of give on the immigration issue is turned around into allowing illegals to vote. And what would Dan Crenshaw know? The only thing he sacrificed for this country is an eye as a war hero. So let me just say this quote one more time before we move over to the next topic. From a man who sacrificed an eye to this nation. "It sounds like I'm making it up. What kind of government would cancel the vote of its own citizens and replace it with non-citizens?" Rep. Dan Crenshaw of the great state of Texas. Yeah. Let's put that away. I can't.
We'll just call him the great Rep. Dan Crenshaw.
The what?
The great Rep. Dan Crenshaw.
Is that like the great space coaster?
I get these little crush things going on. I thought Mick Mulvaney was awesome when he was leading the budget and telling people what spending was really all about.
No, I
Justin
can't.
Amash was great.
I can't.
Crenshaw's my thing.
Let's stick on this for a second before because there'll be plenty of time to get into the. I'm glad you said what you said, and I'm not trying to change topics, but I do want to stick on this because this is very important to me. And this, for the listening audience, is about political crushes and political political admiration, and the fact that we tend to look for who the good guy is. My mother got angry at me in one of the shows for saying something about somebody who right now has good guy status. It is a fool's errand and folly to put any kind of faith beyond the moment and what they're voting on in any kind of politician, because they'll do nothing but disappoint you and let you down. And for those of you who doubt me, let's talk about the great Trey Gowdy. Let's talk about how everybody when he came in said he's going to be the Southern prosecutor. I like Trey Gowdy. I think he does great cable TV hits. I think he had a couple of good moments on camera when he was in the House. But that's it. He never got to the bottom of anything for us. Let's think about the great Paul Ryan, who we were told was this example of a Jack Kemp Republican who really cared about deficit spending, and he didn't, and he took this, that Paul Ryan guy, he took this Speaker of the House ship, hemming and hawing from Boehner, and in my personal opinion, he wasn't just an awful speaker, he was an abject disgrace. Let's talk about the great Jeff Beauregard Sessions, somebody who I found myself for decades falling into the trap of elevating him higher than I think he should have been. And he gets appointed attorney general and recuses himself from this nonsense, and on and on and on and on and on. And when you flip the table to the other side, you get a Ted Kennedy who killed Mary Jo Kopechne in Chappaquiddick, and when he died was lionized as the Lion of the Senate. By whom? Orrin Hatch, John McCain. Let's talk about one of the former Grand Kleagles of the KKK. Former Senator Byrd from the great state of West Virginia. Remember, he had come so far. He was talking about white N-words versus black N-words about 10 or 15 years ago. And he's lionized by the left because their people don't fail them. And on our side, if you put faith in accomplishing any kind of change in anybody other than yourself, I think you're going to be let down. And I'm sorry to get off track and take a side, Stacey, that we hadn't discussed. But I just think that is very important to discuss to this audience because it goes on the back of Rand Paul and these other idiots who are going to stand on quote-unquote principle and look everybody square in the face and say there is not an emergency at the southern border.
Well, yeah, but when I say political crush, I like the way this guy is communicating. I like his general principles. I think he's fairly transparent, right? And even if he does something that I don't agree with, I'm probably going to be okay with it because he's not going to be dishonest about it, and he's going to tell you why.
No, go ahead.
Even Amash does that, right? So I don't expect to agree with a politician 100% of the time. That would be ridiculous. I don't agree with people in my family 100% of the time.
Yeah, but here's the difference. People in my family, when the S hits the fan, have my back. People in my family and my friends or circles, when it's time to fight, they fight. And I don't see that. And I didn't mean to change the topic. Why don't you take us into one of the little discussed proposals of cost plus 50%?
This is gonna make the Bulwark Online heads explode, some neocon heads explode, but Trump is once again pondering the reasons why American taxpayers are paying for the national defense of a number of countries in Europe and in other places. He did some pretty hard negotiating with South Korea and got them to up their give for us maintaining a presence there. We obviously maintain a presence in Japan and Germany since the end of World War II. And Trump is just starting to think that maybe that give is a little uneven and maybe it needs to be rediscussed. He did this with NATO. Everyone freaked out. Mattis and Kelly and everybody else talked to everybody, and people have made commitments to start paying their fair share. The reason I'm sitting here just kind of waiting back and waiting to see what's going to go on, he's basically suggested that the European countries or any country with a presence should pay the full cost of the military there, as well as a 50% premium or whatever. I think that's a little ridiculous, but I also think he likes to put something outrageous out as a first run just to get attention. But I kind of want to see where he wants to go with this, because as you listen and you look around, you look at the European democracies, and because they don't really have to pay for a military, even in terms of NATO, we pay significantly more than any country in Europe does, even as a percentage basis. They're able to do these expansive social welfare programs and things like nationalized healthcare and do their education system a little bit differently, et cetera, et cetera. By not having to provide for their own defense, they have the extra money to do that. Now these hoopleheads are looking over the pond and saying, well, we want those programs too, but they don't understand why the European social democracies are able to do those things.
And I think that it's a fair point to say that hold on one second. Excuse me, I couldn't find the cough button, so I just moved away from the mic, baby. I think it's fair to say that cost plus 50% is probably, is a negotiating tactic like a lot else that the president does. So for that, I'll agree with you on. But I want to disagree with the fact that this is such an out there proposal, because this has been something that has bothered me from the beginning of time. There is... For those of you who are old enough to remember, when the Japanese economy had its great run-up in the 1980s, and it was at its apex in the early to mid-90s with the purchase of Rockefeller Plaza and the valuation of the yen and yada, 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 yada. You go back those 30-plus years, and there has been an argument that's been made that Japan was only able to do that for itself because it enjoyed the blanket of protection that was provided for it by the United States. And this is where I respect where Trump is coming from as far as upending all the quote-unquote norms. I want to take Japan in particular because it is, to my mind, the best case as to why the U.S. has decided to pursue this current policy. Japan's current constitution was written in 1947, and it was written under the backdrop of an occupying World War II force. Within that constitution, just like any constitution, you have different articles outlaying and defining different powers, rights, etc. Article 9 in the Japanese constitution explicitly forbade Japan from maintaining a military or from using force internationally for any reason. It was permitted only a narrow self-defense operation, which was founded in 1954 and known as SDF, which I believe was their basic self-defense force. In 1954, the United States government codified that policy into legislation with the 1954 Mutual Defense Assistance Agreement, and the U.S. pledged to protect Japan under the condition that it could establish permanent military bases on Japanese soil. Keep this in historical context. This is the 50s. Now, the Japanese SDF is a robust force, but its expenditures are pretty narrowly targeted, and they're essentially protective. And this goes the same for a lot of our NATO allies. That's not just specific to Japan. I'm just laying out the way Japan is structured because I think it's a good case. They include no long-range bombers and missiles, no aircraft carriers, and no nuclear submarines. The only change you've seen slightly is since September of 2001, after 9/11, you've had these SDF forces deployed mostly in Afghanistan and Iraq, but they're completely backbencher support roles. Why am I bringing this up? I am bringing this up is because despite what you hear from the Democratic Party, we are a good people. We are a just people. We are a tolerant people. The Japanese attacked us here in the homeland during Pearl Harbor. And we fought a war against the Japanese. We dropped atomic bombs because we thought it would save the lives of 7 million people fighting on the homeland. And even after that, the U.S., for permanent military bases, which was in our own interest, restricted their military force so that we could be basically their force projection. Why am I babbling on about this? Because it's not 1954 anymore, it's 2019. And whether you want to talk about the ability of fighters and bombers to fly at Mach speed, whether you want to talk about the explosion of our aircraft carrier battle groups, which basically are floating cities and islands onto themselves that give us force projection, I'm okay with this because honestly, I think that right now in peacetime, those countries get more out of those arrangements than the United States do. So keeping that all in mind, then fine. You want to know what? If you're taking the blanket of protection and freedom that we offer to you and it's costing us more and you're getting the benefit, then screw you, we'll leave. And why I don't have a problem with this is because one or two things are going to happen. They're either going to come to an accommodation to pay something into our coffers so that we're basically compensated for this world police force that we provide in certain places, or at the end of the day, if they don't and we withdraw, which I'm also okay with because I think we're overspread, are you going to tell me and that any of these allied countries that might box us out, I think Germany might be top on the list, that if push came to shove and the U.S. needed to project force from the soil of Germany, we'd show up and do it. And it would either be with their acquiescence or they can get knocked down and get the hell out of the way. So I don't see anywhere anymore in the 21st century that we can't get to and force project. So I don't necessarily have an issue with this.
My whole thing is this. We did things for specific reasons after World War II. Germany was a problem. They'd been a problem twice in a pretty short period of time. We didn't want them to have a military of their own for a reason, right? Same with Japan. They were a little nutty.
Yeah, but
I'm thinking those countries, if we're allied with them, I think we're over that. Maybe we should start cutting the cord a little bit.
Well, then I'm with you. So I mean, do you agree with me that to the way that you just posited it and described it, there's an inverse yield curve to this? That once we're getting no benefit and we're just on the outlay, and these societies have had the ability to build themselves back up and defend themselves, then let them. The hell are we paying for this? I mean that's where I am on it. I know.
We've rebuilt their economies. We rebuilt the economy essentially of the entirety of Europe. And let's be honest, neither England or France is going to go attack anybody seriously on their own. The NATO alliance is still intact.
I don't.
So
that's such another conversation with Brexit and everything else. I don't know how stable that is. 30 seconds. Give us your last thoughts on the topic.
I'm open to the discussion. I see people freaking out when it was first posted, and I'm like, why not talk about it? This thing is like 80 years old at this point.
So is my mother, but we ain't trying to get rid of her.
Mom, I love you.
I'm in so much trouble because I know that she listens. Coming back, nonsense of the world and more. Wrapping up the last 20 minutes or so with JD and Stacy here on Game On about KLRN Radio. Remember, folks, top off that drink, light up that stink. You put in your head whatever helps make you think. JD and Stacy coming back in 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Whether we realize it or not, everyone has been impacted by addiction. We all have family members, we all have friends that have faced this demon. But there's hope. There's hope in recovery. There's hope when we work together to rise above the plight of addiction. I'd like you to join Mac Mullings every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Rise Above Radio on KOKC 1520 AM, where they talk about the hope that is available to all of us.
Welcome back, everybody. 1880, blind, crippled, and crazy. Get over by the radio, snuggle up, and listen with your baby. JD and Stacy here, hosting the last part of Game On that KLRN radio. We can also be found on that Spotify, baby. We want to thank that Ricky Tikki Tavi, Rick Robinson, the staff over at KLRN radio, everybody over at Spotify, and especially you for listening and helping us get back to where we're looking to be at. Tonight, we're going to thank everybody. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacy. It's a big deal. It's really a fun way to listen to the show. One day I'm going to figure out myself how to get the hell in there and do that. And I got it. Is it just me, or when you hear Rick doing the addiction recovery spot right before we come back to commercial, it always makes me want to get high.
Yeah, that's just you.
Really?
Really?
This is the part of the show that we call...
Don't sit yet. You're going to like this.
We should change that.
Don't sit yet. You're going to like this.
I'm not even sure how much of it we had to talk about that in this last segment that I actually liked.
Well, can I just give one shout out we've been meaning to give since the first show?
Which is that?
The shout out for our little bumpers, which I always like when we come back from commercial.
Yeah.
Those are from our good friend Alfonso Rachel.
That 20-pound sledge, baby, yeah.
Yeah. Those are them awesome guns hitting them drums, and yeah, we love us some Zoe.
For those of you who want a little more context and a look behind the curtain, we had those bumpers before we had a show.
Yeah, right. Long-time friend with Zoe right there.
We closed that deal for him to formally agree to do that when I was out in California that first time around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You never know. You never know. So I know that we had a couple of the three things to talk about on the nonsense coming back in. Let me ask you a question. You want to open this segment? I mean, we can go back to the three that we sent. How would you like to take a little bulwark walk? You know, Charlie Sykes, Bill Kristol, idiocy. Not that we do or that we have to. I mean, that's where it's falling on the scale. I mean, it's falling on the complete clown show scale. No, that's church music. Hold on.
I was gonna say.
Church music, clown music. But that's really what the whole Charlie Sykes crew and everybody else really brings. Wow.
Never Trump was something before the election. Like, I was never Trump and I was never Hillary. I didn't want either one of them. I couldn't figure out how, in a country of 360 million people, these were the two best we had, right? I couldn't figure it out.
Very easy.
But one of them...
Because everything's stupid now.
But one of them was going to be elected, and one of them was going to be my president.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be never something once it happens. What does that even mean anymore?
Did I tell you that Hillary Clinton was at my door the other day?
No, I don't want to hear this.
I did. I answered, and I was just like,
How would you like to mow my lawn? Huh?
I mean, she's got to do something for work.
Well, she did say she's sticking around for the election, and she'll be speaking up. I can't wait.
Oh, who she's been speaking? You want to know what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut because this is the kind of stuff I get myself in trouble with. All right,
you got enough trouble in segment one.
I found out. Oh, I forgot about that. So I found something with the donut receptacle with the vibrator. We'll talk about him in a second, Stetler. What about this? We're not a happy people. We're not a happy people. All we want to do is find the Fountain of Youth. I send you something on the Fountain of Youth, and then there's an article in the Telegraph about how the Fountain of Youth is awful because we're all going to turn into zombies. Do I understand this correctly?
Well, yeah, because they're like figuring out how to make your cells like not kill off and die, except they can't figure out the whole dementia thing.
Wait, what?
So basically what they're saying is everybody's going to get dementia at some point. And yeah, they don't know how to fix that. So you could be alive
I hate this place.
Yeah,
Nothing works
yeah.
here. The medications don't work. I've been here
You
for
could be
7
alive,
years.
but
Yeah.
but
what? But you just
you're
have
not gonna know what's going on.
I have no idea what's going on right now. How is this going to be any different?
Well, anyway, supposedly 120 is it, you guys. That's like the max.
120 years old?
Yeah, that's it.
What are you, high? Let me ask you a question. Who the F wants to live to be 120 years old? My balls ache now.
As long as they can keep lifting on what needs to be pushed up, and I can walk, and I know what's going on, I could do 120.
Yeah, but, there's a cutoff. Like, when your nipples start getting caught in your shoelaces, I mean, it's still
That's what
time
I'm saying.
to keep
They
going
gotta
on?
keep lifting what needs to be lifted.
Lifting what needs to be. By that time, they'll be on your back.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, terrific.
All right, moving on. Can I just tell you what a schlup I think Jeff Zucker is?
Well, listen. He employs the donut receptacle, the little bald retarded kid that has
Stelter.
Yes. What is he? He's 11, right? He's the 11-year-old.
I don't know how old he is, but if you ever see those videos with the guy who replaces Brian's voice with a really high squeaky voice that's higher and squeakier than Brian's is, it's freaking hysterical.
The 14-year-old, the bald 14-year-old with Down syndrome, though, that's Stetler, right?
Reliable sources. He stalks every show on Fox News and then reports on them like it's a big deal.
Oh, how do I not have Life Goes On? This is the perfect time for an obla-dee, obla-da.
Obla-dee, obla-da. Yep. Dear Lord. Jeff Zucker.
I bring nothing to the table.
Fox News is state-run propaganda. Oh, really? What was CNN during the Obama administration, you bald freaking doofus?
But that's the question I have with these idiots. To Stacey's point, like, she's not kidding around. It's not a parody. Jeff Zucker is really running around out there with conspiratorial nonsense, and Fox News is state-run, and this is the same guy. Didn't they just have a thing where, like, there's, like, 3 black people that work for the whole company, and, like, one of them's Don Lemon?
Something like that. But, I mean, the whole thing with the debates is such garbage anyway. Chris Wallace, Brett Baer, and Martha McCallum would be no harder on Democrats than they are on Republicans when Republicans debate, but they're really hard on the Republicans.
What are they going to debate? Listen, these debates are going to be nothing but a bean flicking race to the left of the other idiot.
Oh, my God.
I'm for open borders. No, I'm for physically lifting Guatemala with helicopters and dropping it in Mexico. Oh yeah? Well, I'm for getting rid of Texas and Michigan and replacing it with the state of Oaxaca. What do you think about that? And then T-Bone Booker will come in, after drinking vodka with his margaritas. Don't you love it when they try to be of the people? This jerk off saying there's vodka and margaritas. But this is what it's going to be. Listen, the establishment institutional part of the party is advocating for illegals to vote. So, I don't know where this leaves us for the rest. What else did I send over for this awful segment?
This awful segment. Some rich guy in like the 12th century.
Oh, yes. I believe I watched the doc. I believe he was King Durka the 25th.
Oh, Mansa Musa.
Oh, that's right. I said Mansa Musa. I can't get myself in trouble. This is a story that involves Mansa Musa, the richest man, including Jeff Bezos, who lived, when did he live? In the 14th century. He was the king of Mali's fortune, that his generous gifts could cripple economies.
Yeah, he completely tanked the economy of Egypt. because he gave out too much gold and it totally dropped the price.
Let me tell you something, though. Bezos has not done wonders with Amazon stock, though, either, with some of his. Is there a correlation here? Is this what it is? There's a pilgrimage to Mecca in the story? Why don't you?
Yes, there is.
What happens at Mecca?
That's when he crashed all the economies.
The ruler's pilgrimage led to $1 billion of economic losses. He reportedly left Mali with a caravan of 60,000 men. So basically,
not an army, a caravan.
Oh, so where were they going? To the southern border?
Home.
No, I thought only caravans of 60,000 showed up on the southern border.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, it's more than that. But
I mean, I hear the word caravan lately, and the only thing I can think of is.
Except they're not coming from Mexico.
You want to know something? Look, they're all coming from Mexico. I don't care.
They're coming through Mexico.
Right. Everywhere,
they're running a bus now, son.
Everywhere south of Texas and north of the South Pole is Mexico to me, okay?
Oh,
I don't care.
Silly.
I don't care. I've had it. There's enough people here. Listen, if everybody thinks that we need more Central American culture, come visit New York and California. You'll have it up to your eyebrows and eye pits. But once again, the fastest hour in conservative radio has just wrapped up. We want to thank you so kindly for listening to JD and Stacey hosting Game On Live here on that KLRN radio. Darling, it is time to go. You got those keys?
Oh, I got those keys.
Let's get out of here. We haven't done what we were going to do and what we wanted to do, so until we do that, tell the nice people what you do and where they can find you.
I write for TheResurgent.com. You can find me at Scott's Fire on Twitter and Stacey Lennox on Facebook.
I don't do much more than make really bad decisions. Sometimes I'm on the Twitter. You can find me at Game On JD over there. Other than that, you can find me in bar stools, alleyways, seedy situations. If I live through the week, I'll see you next Sunday.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.